Then let's proceed with cash flow from investing activity. Then the first part is disposal on Ppe item. So let's go to our information. On information number 1, they said a plant with a carrying amount of 75,000 was sold by cash during the year. So they didn't say this plant was sold by 75,000. They said the plant with carrying amount of 75,000. So this is not actual amount of cash that we sold this vehicle, but a carrying amount. So firstly, you have to check if there was any loss or if there was any profit. If there was a loss, please subtract so that we get actual amount that we receive. If there is a profit, please add so that we get the actual amount that we receive. Then we will say 75,000. Then we check, we have profit on sales of plant on our income statement of 110. Simply means that we are going to say 75,000 plus 110, which means that the actual amount that we sold this plant, it was 185,000. 185,000. All right, let's proceed now. Then we have purchase of Ppe item. Let's check if we have been given this amount. Let's check if we have been given this amount. All right, we haven't given. Then the next step, we go to our property, plant and equipment. In 2021 we have 300 balance. In 2022 we have 350. The balance is obviously has increased. So what do? We have to use the formula. We don't just compare these two balance. Why? Because remember, we have the plant that we sold. Other than that, we also have depreciation that has been subtracted. We have impairment amount that has been subtracted. So we simply have to go to formula. Let's go to formula. Okay, here is our formula on the last part. So this formula is the same format with the PPE note that you know, note number 3. So we have carrying value at the beginning, we have addition, we subtract disposal at carrying value, we subtract the depreciation, and we subtract the impairment loss. Then we will left with what? The carrying value at the end. So what do we do in our formula? Okay, very simple, guys. Remember, now we want to test if we have additional what? Assets. The first step, we have to take what? The carrying value at the beginning. We have to take the carrying value at the beginning, which is 300,000. This is how we are going to do it. Carrying value at the beginning is 300 plus addition. Do we know addition? No. We have to do it as a what? As an X. Then we subtract disposal at carrying value. Disposal at carrying value. Not include what? A profit. We have it on our additional information number 1 is 75,000. Okay. Minus 75,000. Alright, again we have to subtract what? Depreciation that we have on our income statement. Income statement, depreciation, we have 30,000. Then impairment loss on vehicle or on any assets, we have it is 15,000, which means we have to subtract 30 and we also subtract 15. We have to subtract 30,000. We also subtract 15,000 of impairment. It will be equal to current value at the end, which is 350,000. Then now, what is the next step? The next step is to solve the x. The next step is to solve the x. How do you solve the x? Very simple. You have to say an x is equal to, alright, we're gonna say 350,000. Anything that move after equal to, it has to change a what? A sign. Remember, we have 350 on the left, which is going on the right side. Now it have to go with what? A minus 300,000. Then we have negative 75,000, which means now we have to do what? To add it. 75,000 minus 30,000, we have to do what? To add 30,000 plus 15,000. You will simply get an amount of, you need to calculate this one, then you will get 170,000, which means this 170,000 is the additional purchase that we made of Ppe Item. If we purchase, obvious, we have paid the money to purchase. This will be an outflow. This will be an outflow, 170,000. Simple as that, guys. Okay, now we are going to change in investment. Let's go to our balance sheet. Investment under Ppe Item, we have investment if in FBI Bank. Then the amount of last year was 100,000. Now we have 50,000. What happened? This simply means that some of the money has matured. Remember, we invested 100,000, then now some of the amount is matured, which means that we receive money from the bank. When it mature, it go to our bank. This simply means that is inflow of 100,000 minus 50,000. We're gonna get amount of 50,000. This is an inflow. 50,000, which is inflow. $50,000 of inflow. Simple as that. Then you will get investing activity of 65,000. Simple as that. A positive amount. Okay, let's proceed to cash flow from financing activity. The first part, we have loan repayment, we have loan raise, we have proceed from share issued. So under loan repayment, remember we read the transaction number 3. A loan repayment of 40,000 was made in ABSA in 2022. This amount includes 80% of interest. The 80% was focused on interest, then the 20% was focused on principal amount. A principal amount simply means that this is an amount excluding what? Interest. Alright, so simply means that in this case we are going to take a 40,000 multiplied by a 20%, then we will get a principal amount that has been repaid. If you take 40,000 multiplied by 20%, you will get an amount of 8,000. So this 8,000 is the one that we repaid. 8,000. Simple as that. So now we have to check if there is any loan that we borrow. How do we check that? Okay, we have to open a bracket and do like this. Remember, last year we had the balance of loan of how much? Of 50,000. Then we incur an expense of interest of 20,000. Simple means that we are going to say 50 plus 20,000 expense that we calculate minus total payment that we made. Okay, it's 50,000. Okay, it's 50,000 guys of last year, the balance that we had. Then now we have to add 20,000. Why are we adding this 20,000? You know that interest increase what? Liability. The interest increase liability. Now, because we repay a 40,000, we reduce what? The liability. Minus 40,000 of repayment. Then, if you calculate all this, you will get 30,000. Okay? Then, after you have get that 30,000, you have to compare 30,000 of last year at the beginning minus the amount of this year. So amount of this year was how much? Was 60,000. Simple means that we take another loan, because now the balance that we have is 60,000 from what? From the total of 30,000. This 30,000 guys, we regarded it as a balance at the beginning. Now we compare it with what? 60,000, which means that it has increased. The liability has do what? Has increased. By how much? By 30,000, which means that we went to bank and borrow another money of 30,000. This will be inflow. Why? Because we go out and borrow money and they give us what? They give us cash. Alright, let's go to proceed from share issue. Okay, let's go to transaction number last. A capitalization issue of 15,000 occurred during 2022. Using retaining earnings, there was a further issue of ordinary share during 2022 at market price of 350. So, if you are not given any shares, you don't have to worry about the market price. Okay, so how are we going to work this one? Okay, we have the capitalization issue of 15,000, which we firstly have to add from the balance at beginning from our share capital. Alright, we have share capital of 60,000, which simply that means that we have to say 60,000 plus 15,000. Then it will be 75,000. Now we can do the different. Last year we have 75,000, including capital share issue of during the year. Then it went from 75,000 to 90,000. This simply means that the company issued other shares and increased what? Shareholders. Simple as that. Which means that we sold a share, we receive money, then the difference you will get 15,000. 75,000 minus 90,000, you will get 15,000, which is positive, of course, because we issue share and we receive money, 15,000. Then after that, you will get the financing of 37,000. 37,000. Okay, now all on all, after all, you have to calculate and get the net cash inflow or outflow. It will depend on the whether the amount is negative or positive. So if you calculate everything from up, you will get an amount of 243,000. Alright, then what about the cash at the beginning and cash at the end? This is the amount that you will get it from income statement or from the balance sheet. Sometimes this amount you will find that you have been given only at the beginning, which means that at the end you have to calculate it as a what? As a balancing figure. Alright, at the beginning amount we have 10,000. We have to copy it as it is. These are the free marks. 10,000. Balance at the end, you add inflow, net cash inflow of 243 plus 10,000, then you will get an amount of 253,000. Please make sure that if there was any amount of bank overdraft, please subtract it first from the balance of the bank, then write it as a what? As a balance at the beginning or balance at the end. Then from the bank of the balance at the end, it must be the same as the balance that you calculate from net inflow or outflow plus cash and cash equivalent at the beginning. So this is how you should prepare cash flow using indirect method. Very simple and very straightforward. Thank you.